Hello everyone, this is Nate, and let's all wave one last farewell to the pre-patch from us. It is gonzo and never to be seen again, hopefully. Yes, it is still in the game, but we're not really going to be not talking about that today. This is a post-patch commentary, and I'm not necessarily going to be talking about the patch the entire game. I'd like to focus more on how the Jets have changed in Rush, and I had another video that was 31-0, same conditions, same map as the, I hope I don't become infamous for just doing only defense Caspian border, but I do get very good games on this. But I'm not using that gameplay because it was pre-patch, and this footage is a little more applicable to what I'm going to be talking about today. And Sneaky Tank is not as sneaky as he thinks he is. And I'm not going to be bashing on the patch. I like it overall, and I suppose I could go on a big rant about how suppression is a problem, or everything is unbalanced, or tanks is made of paper. But seriously, the biggest complaint that comes to my mind, and this is the only one I'm going to mention, is this. So I go to get my MG36, alright? And I'm like, oh cool, let's put on the extended mags. Oh cool, they added a heavy barrel. That's nice. Now where are the extended mags? Where are the extended mags? Okay, well let's check the QBB 95. Same here, heavy barrel, nice addition, but where are my extended mags? What have they done with it? Oh, there they are! They're on the RPK. That makes sense. Well, let's take a look at this. Same RPK as before, except now 200 rounds and a 3-second reload. I don't know about all that, and I don't think that that was intentional. I think that they meant to add the heavy barrel to the MG36 and QBB 95. They didn't mean to take away the extended mags. At least that's my impression of it, and I'm sure they sure as heck did not mean to give the RPK extended mags. And it's not overpowered, but I don't really know what to think about it. It's not really a complaint. I'm more upset over the MG36. But anywho, we're here to talk about the Jets and Rush, and this is sort of going to be a tips video. The biggest tip I can give in terms of, I know the game's been out for like 6 months, but I'm still going to go through this. The biggest tip I can give is literally just to be comfortable flying the airplane. First and foremost, choose a control scheme that you're comfortable with. I tried the default controls for the first 2-3 games that I had, and I did not like them, and I was not comfortable with them, and having played some other shooters before, so I actually switched to Southpaw, believe it or not. I fly on Southpaw with the pitch and roll on the left stick and the yaw on the right stick, and I didn't change my buttons at all, but I have that set up on my helicopter as well. It just makes more sense, and I'm not going to tell you what you should be doing. I don't think I can give any sort of advice. You really have to figure that out for yourself. But once you're comfortable in the jet, the next thing you really want to learn how to do is attack ground targets. First of all, because you're going to get more points that way. Secondly, it really is part of the role of the Jets, as I've mentioned, I'm sure in other videos, that if you cannot impact the fight on the ground, you are utterly and entirely useless to your team just fighting the other Jets the entire game. And one very useful technique that I think I could give, or it's not really a technique I would necessarily say, but just learn how to be able to brake, maneuver, and fire at the same time. Well, what do I mean by this? I mean, obviously the default trigger setup, or the controls, the buttons layout on the Xbox, which is the only thing I have experience on, so that's really the only thing I can speak on, is that to slow down is the left trigger, but to fire is the left bumper. And you don't have 2 left index fingers, but you do have 4 fingers plus a thumb on your left hand. So what you want to do is, and it's not really that difficult sounding, but it can be sort of awkward to do at first. You want to take your index finger up to the bumper and use it to fire, and you want to use your middle finger on your left hand to actually hold the brakes down. And you can see in this video when I'm holding the brakes. Obviously I'm going to be in first person when I'm making an attack pass, but I think you get the point of it. And this is sort of a problem. Spawn killing of the Jets. Yes, I participate in it because I really don't like having to deal with a jet. I like being able to focus on the ground targets and help my team in general. But I will be the first to admit that it is a problem, and I really wish DICE would give the Jets spawn protection, and when and if they do, they need to lengthen the respawn time, because 45 seconds is it's a bit too short, considering some dogfights last a minute and a half, 2 minutes at most. And right there you saw the only time in this video where the enemy team, actually there's one other instance, I forgot. There's only a couple instances in this game where the enemy manages to launch a surface area missile at me, but check this out. Okay, so I shoot at that Jeep, right? and I get a disable and I get a kill. No big deal, right? But the Jeep is actually still sitting there burning on the ground, and I'm not sure why some guy would think it would be a good idea to get into the Jeep and try to drive it, or maybe he was running up to repair it. I'm not really sure, but it blows up. Hold on, I'm gonna get a missile launched at me. Here we go. It blows up, kills him, and then, funny enough, it explodes, blows up an enemy mine, and kills another guy. Sometimes you just get lucky. It's like I was on Carg Island the other day, and I had this one incident happen. Don't focus on the jet I'm attacking right now. Look at the other jet that my 2 fighters on my team are after. That jet over there, he bails out, he's falling to the ground, he's gonna pass near the enemy jet right about the time my missiles get to it, and double kill. What are the odds? It's like I was just saying, sometimes you just get lucky. Another really important thing I need to mention is missile avoidance, and I know I've talked a little bit about it before, but it has changed a little bit. Obviously, Stingers and Iglas have much shorter range now, but they also do over 50% damage to your jet now, so getting hit by 2 without having any repair time will get you killed, so it's important. And see right here, stealth actually keeps me from getting the missile locked onto me entirely. At that point, I'm going to spawn kill the jet again. Actually, I don't get him this time. This is the rare instance. Okay, I get him disabled, but ramming into me, my only weakness. And that made me sort of sad. Me and that Blake guy get into an epic air battle here in a little bit. But there's something I want to mention. Obviously, I would not recommend at this point using ECM Jammer without stealth on right now, because the lock-on time for Stingers and Iglas is so incredibly short now. I'm not saying your reaction time is going to save you. It's not going to save you, because by the time you're getting a tone, or not a tone, by the time you're getting a warning, like the audible sound saying you're getting locked onto, they've already shot the missile at you, and ECMs on the jets don't really, they have like, what, a 20% chance, I believe it is, of breaking lock on a missile that's already coming towards you, so keep that in mind. And so now we're going to move on to flares, and I know I've mentioned I like stealth more than air radar, but flares, here's what I'm going to suggest, and you can take it for what it is. I would say that it's better, if you can, as soon as you get a missile launched on you, not to popular I almost said popular flares, like twice in a row. My tongue is absolute rogue right now. It may not be a good idea to pop your flares immediately, and it's because, whether or not you're aware of this, this is how it is now. Flares do not break lock-on, and a couple seconds after your flares are fired, if a missile is launched at you, it's going to hit you. And I know previously, even if you were a good pilot, you could come at a missile at certain speeds and angles of attack and it would miss you, as well as just turning really hard when a guy fires it on your tail would help you. That's not really the case anymore. Missiles are far more reliable, so you want to avoid popping your flares too soon. Speaking specifically about ground threats, so let's say for instance you're flying over an enemy target, and I say enemy target, I really mean the deployment or wherever you know enemies are with Stingers or Iglas, and you get a missile fired at you, pop flares immediately, and you get a second missile fired at you. That second missile is going to hit you. And so what I'm suggesting is wait a little bit. Not too much time, because then you're going to get hit anyway. I'm not saying that. And if you have air radar, you do have the advantage of being able to see the missiles on the air radar coming at you, and so you can time your flares appropriately. But it'll just avoid you having to take extra damage from popping flares prematurely. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Now, you see me cannot get on this guy's tail long enough to get a shot off at him, and this is sort of, I don't really know how to explain this. I want to say that jets turn a lot easier for everyone now, and I think that's the case because I know that they maneuver better at slow speeds. So if you're one of those douchebags that just holds the brakes the entire time, and I'm not speaking about myself, obviously you can see when my brakes are coming out, you're gonna have an easier time. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's sort of negative for me because I'm having a real hard time with this guy, and I'm not trying to say that he's bad, but I did message him after the game, and I, sort of said, hey, good job keeping me occupied for so long. Most people don't last that long. And he said, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, yada yada. So I was like, okay, so at least he doesn't think he's good. Obviously he's good enough to keep me at bay for long enough. And keep in mind right now, he doesn't really have to shoot me down. However, he is going to make if you stay on someone's tail long enough and you pressure them long enough, they will make a mistake, and even if you hit them, typically people will change direction because they think you're about to zone in on them, and actually that turn right there cost him, and I ended up shooting him down because of it. And I'm not necessarily criticizing him for it, but I would like to make the point that the longer you put pressure on someone in a dogfight, and the longer you can stay on their tail, even without air radar on. I was able to stay on that guy's tail because I was able to not necessarily predict his movements, but realize that I would at least catch a glimpse of him in third-person view if he was going to change the angle at which he was turning. And so keep in mind, even if you're not the best jet pilot ever, you can actually be somewhat effective just keeping the jet at bay, because that was a minute and a half, 2 minutes that I was not able to attack their ground forces, and that's pretty significant if you ask me. Thank you for watching the video, and to summarize the bonus clip, don't let me steal your jet on Wake Island. Just don't let me steal it. Really.